Hello and welcome to the news desk at 10 on the network service of the NTA. We're reaching you live from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I'm Chimobi Walter Naji. Now the headlines.
Because AK-47 is supposed to be registered and is only given to security officials.
President Muhammadu Buhari reiterates mopping up of illegal AK-47 guns in the country. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy unveils Diamond Anniversary commemorative postage stamps in Abuja. Plus, federal government to work with key financial regulatory institutions to address issues from Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act BOFIA 2020. Glad you could join us. We'll start with the executive arm of government, as President Muhammadu Buhari has re-emphasized his marching orders to security chiefs to go harder on criminal elements undermining international security and stability, insisting that anyone found illegally with AK-47 be shot at sight. This was at a meeting with the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria at the State House, co-chaired by the Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Saad Abubakar, and the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeye Eniton Ogunzi. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who appraised the royal fathers with efforts by government towards improving the security situation in the country, said his administration has recorded appreciable successes in the northeast and south parts of the country. He, however, described as surprising the situation in the northwest, where people with the same culture are killing each other, kidnapping for ransom, rustling domestic animals, and burning valuable properties.
Those who are conducting the abduction, the killing and so on, they don't seem to be short of arms and ammunition. We had 4 hours meeting of the Security Council. We gave clear instructions. Anybody with AK-47 should be shot, because AK-47 is supposed to be registered and is only given to security officials.
The president expressed dismay over the attacks on police stations and killings of security personnel by criminals, stressing the need for traditional rulers to use their influence and position as bridge builders to complement government efforts at ensuring peace and security, as well as rooting out those who do not mean well for the country.
We have a problem, but I assure you we are doing our best. Our best hasn't proved to be good enough, but we are getting desperate. And we have given the orders to the military especially to be very hard on the criminals. Confidence must be restored in governance within the next 6 weeks. In 6 weeks' time, I want to see a difference.
During the meeting, the president listened to various interventions from representatives of the traditional rulers from each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. The royal fathers stressed the need for the traditional institution to be assigned definite roles, particularly on peace and security within the ambit of the constitution, as well as regular engagement with the National Assembly on multiple fronts.
We narrated stories of this banditry, kidnappings, killings here and there, and request Mr. President to consider putting us in a position whereby we can directly or indirectly help in terms of securing our respective domains.
At the behest of Mr. President, I will convene a meeting with our royal fathers in a couple of days, and we'll look at all the issues that need to be discussed with a view to finding a way to permanently eliminate the problems confronting us.
Apart from the National Security Advisor, the meeting was also attended by heads of other security and intelligence services. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now, there is every indication that the misgivings surrounding the implementation of the Executive Order 10, which borders on independent financial autonomy of the legislature and judiciary at the state levels, will finally be resolved. The indication to this is a meeting between the federal government and the leadership of the Conference of Speakers led by its chairman, Abubakar Suleiman. Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State, who is a former Speaker, House of Assembly, spoke to the press after the meeting with the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari.
So it's a continuous meeting, and we are going to meet next week, Thursday, where we hope to finalize on the framework and modalities of implementing the autonomy of the state legislature and the state judiciary.
How soon do you hope to see it happen?
Well, by next week, Thursday, we are meeting to finalize the framework.
And you are giving assurance that you are going to do it?
We are all in support of it, by the grace of God.
It would be recalled that the President on 22nd of May 2020 signed into law the Executive Order 10, which among others granted financial autonomy to state legislators and the judiciary. Now, stakeholders in the health sector are in agreement with the House of Representatives on the need to improve health infrastructure in north-central Nigeria. This was highlighted at a public hearing held by the House Committee on Health Institutions. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The public hearing is pertaining to two establishment bills sponsored by the Deputy Speaker Ahmed Idris, seeking the establishment of Jos Orthopedic Hospital and Federal Medical Center, Wasi, both in Plateau State. The orthopedic hospital is to service the needs of people of Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi and Plateau States.
The tertiary hospital that is there, Jos University Hospital, is overwhelmed with so many cases. So therefore, establishing an orthopedic hospital there will bring healthcare, specialized healthcare closer to the people.
It would be right to have one per zone, the federal zones of the country.
The provision of an additional public orthopedic center, as stressed at the hearing, will reduce the burden on the existing tree available in the country. In another development, House Committee on Agricultural Production and Services has engaged agencies on procurement procedure as they implement the 2021 budget, during which the chairman of the committee emphasized directing efforts to research to meet local food demands.
We spent no less than 6 billion naira on wheat per annum. And what we target, if we can get just 30% of that, 30%, if we can substitute it with our local wheat, then we have a we have a headway on that.
We believe that whatever happens comes from the research institutes for any improvement in our agricultural production.
Meanwhile, the winner of the Cross River North senatorial by-election and member House of Representatives, Senator-elect Jarigbe Agom Jarigbe, at a briefing says, having been affirmed by the Federal High Court and issued certificate of return by INEC, he hopes to be sworn in by leadership of the Senate soon.
And I know and I trust that the Senate leadership will do the needful.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still with the National Assembly, the lingering economic situation in Nigeria has remained a justification for the country's economic diversification from oil. This was the position of Senate Committee on Finance during an investigation on the internally generated revenue by agencies. Mobolaji Moribiri has a report.
Inability by some government agencies to remit their revenue generation between 2014 and 2018, alleged mismanagement of the revenue funds were the issues that the committee investigated.
The entire 460 agencies and MDAs of federal government to be under the schedule so that they can see themselves as revenue agents.
We wrote to Minister of Finance that we should be exempted because by nature of what we do, we are a social service organization. that the reason why you have not seen returns on our treasury bills from 2015 is because we moved to the TSA.
Members of the committee expressed dissatisfaction on the processes upon which public funds are utilized, requesting evidences for clarification.
Responding to government letters and everything, to come up with all these evidences that we have requested for. By the time they come up with it, we ask questions, and if there are missing links and need for us to bring these former MD, we will not hesitate to do that.
The public hearing is adjourned to next week Tuesday. From the National Assembly, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
And away from the National Assembly, the federal government says it will continue to work closely with key financial regulatory institutions to build on already recorded successes and build on all issues arising from the Banks and Other Financial Institutions Act BOFIA 2020 be addressed promptly. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, who was speaking in her office, said citizens need to feel safe in financial transactions irrespective of the volume involved. Leah Katumbe-Batunde reports.
Confidence and stability, two key words valid for the running of a smooth financial system. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, say government is committed to meeting the expectations of Nigerians.
I'm aware that there are issues that arose from the recently amended Banks and Financial Institutions Act BOFIA 2020, to which my attention has been drawn. We will work with you and with the board to resolve them.
It's only about 10 DMBs that the corporation was able to pay 100% liquidation dividend. So which means for the remaining ones is because the recovery has not been made 100%.
A concern genuinely in the heart of many Nigerians who lost money to the collapse of banks in the country. In Abuja, Leah Katumbe-Batunde, NTA News.
Now, the federal government's initiative of setting aside 1.68% development of natural resources funds with the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission is continuing to attract interest from the states lining up to assess the fund. Yobe in the northeast is one of such states in Nigeria that in January this year submitted an application requesting for 52.5 billion naira from the fund, as disclosed by the Chairman Fiscal Efficiency and Budget Committee of the Commission, Adamu Shetima Dibal, during an assessment visit to Yobe State. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Yobe State in northeast Nigeria, with an estimated landmass of more than 47,000 square kilometers and a population of 2.3 million people according to the 2006 census, has vast agricultural, solid minerals and tourism potentials. Out of the desire to harness these economic potentials, the state recently applied for 52.5 billion naira under the Development of Natural Resources Fund domiciled at the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission to enable it develop these sectors. This led the Chairman, Fiscal Efficiency and Budget Committee of the Commission to visit Yobe State for an on-the-spot assessment of potentials.
The aim of establishing the 1.68% DNRF is to achieve resources diversification and provide alternative sources of revenue not only to the federal government but to the other two tiers of government.
The state, as you may be aware, is blessed with numerous untapped natural endowments. We have large deposits of gypsum, potash, rainwater, limestone, and iron ore.
At a technical session with the Secretary to the State Government, Babu Malam Wali, presentations were made regarding the three priority sectors in agriculture, solid minerals and tourism. Yobe State noted that if granted the money, will be used to diversify its economic potentials, create employment opportunities, attract investors, and increase its internally generated revenue base. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And back here in Abuja, National Human Rights Commission has pledged its support to ensuring that human rights are integrated into the national response to both COVID-19 and HIV. Executive Secretary of the Commission, Tony Ojukwu, made this known when he received the Executive Director, Unit Winnie Bremin in Abuja. Omeka Amarachuku completes the story.
There is no doubt that COVID-19 pandemic has triggered additional human rights challenges to humanity, particularly the key populations and persons with HIV and AIDS. Though various stakeholders are making efforts to mitigate these human rights issues, National Human Rights Commission is bringing to the fore key human rights development experts in addressing gender and other forms of inequalities and promoting human dignity.
A right-based approach does not only integrate human rights into development planning and implementation, it encourages debates, participation, and ownership. It promotes accountability in resource mobilization, program implementation, monitoring and evaluation.
Looking at what we've harvested in the last 18 months in our national HIV response, it has given me confidence that yes, it is possible to fight stigma and discrimination and succeed.
Some reason made you a human rights activist. I respect you for turning your pain into dedication to end injustice, discrimination, violence against others.
National Human Rights Commission also signed a memorandum of partnership with National Agency for Control of HIV and AIDS to enable the two organizations pool their unique mandates and resources together to implement a broad-based partnership in the fight against HIV and AIDS. In Abuja, Omeka Amarachuku, NTA News.
All right, we'll have to take a break now. More reports when we return. Stay with us. Many thanks for being with us. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally inaugurated the new headquarters of the Niger Delta Development Commission, valued at 16 billion naira. The ceremony was performed through an alternative virtual platform. President Buhari described the project as an important milestone in his administration's effort at repositioning the Commission for Sustainable Development of the Niger Delta region. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has a report.
Occupying a total land area of 39,116 square meters, the new magnificent disabled-friendly head office complex of the NDDC consists of a 13-floor twin-tower main building as well as a 4-story ancillary building which will be home to commercial properties like banks, hospitals, restaurants, and various conference halls. Before the completion of the project, which started in 1996, NDDC has been spending 200 million naira annually on rent.
I commend the management and staff of NDDC who stay in the cause and keen into the reform agenda of our administration. Today, we are handing over to the people of Niger Delta a befitting head office complex for present and future use. Consequently, huge yearly rentals will now be saved and deployed to other areas of needs in the region. I am particularly pleased to note the cordial relationship between the NDDC and the National Assembly and hope that this relationship will be strengthened further for the benefit of the people of the Niger Delta region.
President Buhari commended the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, for providing the required leadership that led to the completion of the project.
in 2015, as part of our administration's cardinal objectives to kill corruption, some critical reforms were embarked upon, part of which was a holistic reform of the NDDC for greater service delivery for the people of the region. To achieve this, I reassigned the supervision of the NDDC to the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs for administrative efficiency. Second was the appointment of forensic auditors to review the operations of the Commission and to ensure that the appropriations made to the NNDC are commensurate with what is on the ground.
Speakers at the event poured encomiums on President Muhammadu Buhari for his passion and genuine commitment towards enhancing the development of the Niger Delta region.
I wholeheartedly commend President Muhammadu Buhari for setting up a forensic audit to look through the books of NDDC. I also welcome the setting up of an interim administration to manage the affairs of the Commission pending the conclusion of the forensic.
The digital economy sector has again recorded another milestone as the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Ali Pantami, unveiled the Diamond Anniversary Commemorative Postage Stamp in Abuja. A statement by the spokesperson to the minister, Uwa Suleiman, indicates that the significance of the stamps are deeply rooted in the country's national history and are to be used in authenticating official documents. Issa Pantami noted that in spite of the enormous challenges bedeviling the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, the federal government is committed to repositioning the organization to attain its maximum potential in adding value to the economy. The minister, the statement added, has championed and established the recognition of NIPOST as the legal producer of stamp duties through the Finance Act of 2020, a move which strategically empowers the institution to generate revenue. Now, April 29th has been set for the commencement of the phase 2 of the digital switchover from analog to digital broadcasting in the country. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed announced the date at a media briefing in Abuja. Anthony Forsen reports.
Information and Culture Minister, while announcing the new dates for the commencement of the rollout phase 2, said 4 states, 3 of them densely populated.
This is to accentuate our eagerness to take the DSO to as many Nigerians as possible, as well as to ensure its viability, as we have now decided that the process will be commercially driven. Our decision to also kickstart the analog switch off is a clear testimony to our commitment to complete the DSO process as soon as possible.
And to make the process viable, the minister assured that channel owners and content providers will be supported through the implementation of the audience measurement system to guarantee a sustained stream of revenue from advertising for them to attract investment in content development.
In this regard, the Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, APCON, has been directed to implement key policies to guarantee the advertising income of media houses by creating a healthy environment for the media outfits to operate. Very soon, APCON and the National Broadcasting Commission will sign an MOU on zero advertising debts to ensure that revenue from advertisers goes to the media owners.
On set-top boxes, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the minister said, will partner with the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to ensure a reduction in tariff on raw materials for its production, saying his ministry will aim at 0% tariff for completely knocked down components and not more than 5% tariff for semi-knocked down components against the current 5% tariff for completely knocked down components and 10% for semi-knocked down components. This, the minister assured, will make the set-top boxes within the reach of an average Nigerian. Giving a rundown on how the Phase 2 rollout will run, Acting Director General, National Broadcasting Commission, Professor Armstrong Idachaba, said the process will go through to the end of the year.
So by the plan that we have, by the end of first quarter in 2022, we will have had additional 10 states. Additional 10 states will have been, or a total of 10 states will have been switched on in Nigeria. Lagos, Kano, Rivers, Yobe, Gombe, Imo, Akwa Ibom, Oyo, Jigawa, and Ebonyi states.
In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Now, with the recent approval for the establishment of the Federal Polytechnic in Plateau State, the federal government has announced the siting of the Polytechnic in Yak Shamdam local government area. In a statement, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Architect Sonny Echono, conveyed this to Governor Simon Bako Lalong during the continuation of the technical visit to the state in preparation to the takeoff of the Polytechnic. The Permanent Secretary said the technical team from the ministry had undertaken a preliminary visit to various sites in Shandam local government area, and having submitted its findings, Yak was chosen as the site for the school. Echono said facilities such as access roads to the site, power lines and water body for the treatment are the immediate concerns that will be addressed in collaboration with the state government. He said already President Buhari has approved 2 billion naira for the takeoff of the institution. He said the visit reports of the 10-man technical committee will further advise whether the Polytechnic should start on a temporary facility or on the permanent site. He also conveyed the appreciation of the Minister of Education to Governor Lalong for championing peace and reconciliation, which has made Plateau return to its pride of place and the home of peace and tourism, a situation that continues to attract development and investment to the state. Governor Lalong assured the Permanent Secretary that the people of Plateau State, Shandam local government area, as well as host community of Yak, are all eager to take off of the school, which will accelerate educational development, skill acquisition, and job creation. Meanwhile, the 10-man member committee led by Malam Musa Muhammad Isgogo, a director from the National Board for Technical Education and the Chief of Staff to the Plateau State Governor Noel Dungjo, has concluded their visit to the approved site in Yak. During the visit, they inspected the vast land provided as permanent site of the Polytechnic, access roads and other facilities for power, water and security. They also inspected some schools and hospitals currently being constructed under the Lalong Legacy projects in Yak and Shandam before paying visits to traditional rulers, including the Long Gamai of Shandam, Miskum Martin Shaldas III, who expressed excitement and appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari and Governor Simon Lalong for finally wiping their tears with the establishment of a federal tertiary institution in the southern zone of the state. All right, another break beckons. More reports after this timeout.